Step outside the wall.
This is outside the wall. Outside the wall.
What if the life you really want is waiting on the other side of the walls you've built? This is Outside the Walls, a podcast about breaking limiting beliefs and building a life that's actually yours. Through conversations about mindset, purpose, and life, we explore what it takes to step beyond comfort and into freedom. I'm Dave Gast. Let's step outside the walls. How about a spa day today? Yeah, probably not the spa day you're thinking of. More on that later. I was thinking about, how most people say they want a better life, but they keep thinking the same way that got them stuck. I caught myself doing the same thing the other day. Same thoughts, same patterns, nothing new. And it hit me. Maybe the problem isn't effort. Maybe it's how I'm thinking. And that got me coming back to three guys. And let's get back to that spa day, SPA. Yeah, not that spa day, but Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. And not because they had life figured out, but because they refused to think like everyone else. And that's the part that stuck with me. Because most people don't actually think. They react. They repeat. They inherit ideas and just run with them. I've done it too and still do it sometimes. So let's dive a little bit deeper into Socrates. He had this whole thing about questioning everything. Not to be difficult, although he did challenge people, but to get to the truth. And I started asking myself, when's the last time I really questioned anything in my life? Not surface level stuff, real stuff. Why do I work the way I do? Why do I define success the way I do? Why do I chase the things I chase? Yeah, well, I didn't really love some of the answers because a lot of them weren't mine. They were just inherited from culture, from expectations, from what I thought I was supposed to do. Then you've got Plato. His whole idea was that most people are just seeing shadows, not reality, and that landed because it's easy to live on the surface, busy, productive, and oh yes, checking those boxes. I'm a checklist guy, so I could certainly relate to that, but not actually asking, is this real for me, or am I just playing a role? And that's a tough place to go because once you see it, you can't unsee that. And then Aristotle brings it home because thinking is great, because if it doesn't change how you live, it doesn't matter. And he was all about action, habits, what you actually do every day. And that's where this got real for me. Because it's easy to sit around and have deep thoughts. It's harder to ask, what am I going to do differently because of this? And that is the gap. Because most people think just enough to feel smart, but not enough to change. And that walk that I talked about on a prior podcast, it wasn't some huge breakthrough moment, but it was honest. I started seeing where I've been on autopilot, where I've been chasing things that don't actually matter to me. And that's uncomfortable because it forces a decision. Do I keep going like this or do I adjust? And adjusting, that sounds simple until you realize it means letting go of some things. And we talked about that on a recent YouTube short where less is the real upgrade. We chase growth by adding more. Real growth comes from removing less noise, less friction, maybe some habits, maybe some identities. So I kept it simple. I picked one belief, just one. And I asked, is this actually true for me right now? Then I looked at my actions, and because that's where the truth is, and I made one small shift. Nothing dramatic, but it was aligned. And that's the part most people miss. You don't need a complete overhaul. You need alignment. So, Socrates questioned, Plato saw deeper, and Aristotle acted. That's the stack. And most people skip all three. If you want something different, start there. Ask better questions, look beyond the surface, and then actually do something with it. That's where life starts to change outside the walls.
This is outside the wall. Outside the wall.
Thanks for spending some time with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, and share with someone else that you feel would benefit from hearing this message. I'm Dave Gast. Keep stepping outside the walls.